award-winning website provider and digital agency best known for our search engine optimization, world-class customer service, and our amazing website designs. And for those of you who don't know who Amirrezvani is, he is the president, CEO, and co-founder of DealerOn. And with that, I'm going to lead you to it.
All right, so Digital Dealer 13, starting right now. How many of you have not been to a digital dealer before? Wow, quite a few of you. Okay, cool. So I really think over the next couple of days, you're really going to see why so many of us continue to come back year after year. I'm really excited to be here today and just want to take a moment to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak here about a topic that I'm so passionate about. I'm going to be speaking about advanced SEO and what works on Google today. Real quick before we get started, can I just again see a show of hands? I want to kind of gauge everyone's SEO experience in the room. So if you're kind of a newbie, you're pretty, just getting your feet wet in SEO, could you raise your hand? A couple of you, okay. How about in the middle of the road? And then are there any SEO ninjas in the room? A couple ninjas, all right. If any of you guys want to actually do these slides for me, please feel free, because I had a rough night last night now. All right, one more sip of water and we'll get this kicked off. All right, so again, my name's Amirrezvani. I'm the founder of DealerOn and CEO. We're a website development company and a digital media agency that caters specifically to automotive. And again, today I'm going to be talking about advanced SEO, what works on Google. So first, we're going to talk about a few key takeaways and things that we're going to be learning. We're going to be talking about how Google has changed over the past couple of years and how we can expect Google to change as we continue to go forward. We'll look at some of the things that we definitely want to avoid due to a lot of these different changes that have happened through the Panda, Penguin, and Venice updates. We're also going to be looking at what things we want to focus on going forward. And then finally, we're also going to be looking at a series of different tools that I would recommend that will help you manage and monitor your overall SEO success. All right, so before we talk about how to get your dealership more traffic or how to get your rankings a little bit better on Google, I think it's really important to keep in mind what has happened over the past couple of years and really know about these changes and then kind of understand how that's going to affect things as we go forward. So Google has been changing ever since February 2011 when the first Panda update hit. There's been many different Panda updates, probably about 20 or so. Many different Venice updates, many different Penguin updates, Google 10-pack, 7-pack, universal search site. I mean, the list is literally mind-boggling. By the time I probably finish talking here today, there'll probably be another update or two released. And it's going to continue speeding up like that. So that being said, how does a dealer really keep up with all these different changes, the mixed signals that we get from different website vendors like ourselves or SEO consultants or social media companies, all that out there? Who's the dealer really to trust? And the simple answer to that question is, you guys obviously should all trust DealerOn. Now, the truth is there really isn't a simple answer for that. And I'm here to tell you today, and hopefully after what I show you, everyone in this room really needs to take their SEO strategy a lot more seriously going forward and be very careful of who you trust. The truth of the matter is, I really think that every dealership really needs someone in-house that's responsible for their SEO. I know no one wants to hear that, but going forward with the way things are changing, it's almost going to be, if you want to do well, you want to really succeed, and you want to dominate your competition, that's what you have to do. So before we talk about, again, what's going to work on Google or what won't work on Google as we go forward, it's also really important to remember what Google's main goal and mission is. If you look at all the updates that have happened over the past couple of years, they've all tended to help people that really truly weren't doing any black hat SEO. And again, for some of the new guys in the room, black hat SEO, essentially what that is shady SEO tactics that have been deployed essentially to game Google and deliberately try and get higher search rankings just by adding, doing kind of shady tactics, I guess you can say. This handsome fellow here, Ben Gomes, he's the distinguished Google engineer. I think back in 1998, he had stated that, for Google, their goal, their main thing that they wanted to do is to be able to provide their consumers, their users, their information faster and faster. So when you think about how Google's going to continue to change, that's going to be a big proponent of how their algorithm changes. All the things that they release these updates for are to make sure that webmasters don't violate this main goal. We're going to talk about some of these things today, and I'll keep on coming back to this, but it's a very important thing to understand. So real quick, I'm going to, well, not that quick, but anyway, we're going to talk about Google Panda and Venice and Penguin. Google Panda, sometime again in February 2011, Google released a big update to their algorithm that we later found out was called Panda. And most people in this room probably have heard of Panda before, but most people I talk to really don't understand what the real impact of Panda was. You know, why did it really affect us, and why is it going to continue to affect us as we go forward? And Panda, essentially what it is, it's a quality rating, right? And this quality rating, what it does is it allows Google's human quality raters to actually rank sites higher that they like more, and actually rank sites lower that they like less. And the really important thing to understand here is that this is the very first time with the Panda update that Google has actually used human intervention to actually evaluate sites based on a bunch of different characteristics and use that input and incorporate it into their algorithm. So they actually had thousands of testers go out there and they looked at all these different sites, things like, was the site trustworthy? Were they able to do all the things that they expected they could do there? Was it useful information? Was it unique? Was it, how is the design? Real things like design actually now are actually being taken into account in terms of the overall user experience. The Panda update is broken down to 3 main categories. Number 1 being design and user experience, number 2 being content quality, and number 3 being website usage metrics. And this is something that probably most people aren't aware of, that the interactions that people actually have on your site now play an effect to how well you rank. And we'll talk about that in a bit. So a really important aspect of Panda that we all should know about is that it's the first time also that a particular update actually affects the entire website. And what I mean by that is, in the past, if you had a particular page on your site or a series of different pages that had useless content, or Panda had an issue with it due to poor SEO or whatever the case was, it would be just those pages that would be negatively affected. With the Panda update, it's not just those pages, it actually affects your entire website. So we need to make sure that we're not violating anything in the Panda update so that our entire site doesn't take a hit. The next thing to note, and the reason actually I bring this up real quick, is that there's a series of different website vendors in our space that have, knowingly or unknowingly in the past, have created, things like sold vehicle pages or city pages. Does anyone in this room have any sold vehicle pages on your website? Anyone? Okay, a couple people. How about city pages that are basically pages that are created to just have content about a particular city, maybe driving directions, things of that nature? No? Okay. Usually there's a lot more people. But anyway, things like that, the reason why it's important that these pages that have been created essentially to generate better SEO results. They're not there for the end user. When you look at these pages, the content's pretty useless, and the big issue is that the bounce rate on these pages are also pretty high. So you really need to be careful, because it's Panda's after these types of pages, but also the fact that the bounce rate is high because the content is useless for the end user really is going to hurt you. And that's the last thing, again, about usage metrics, that Panda is now evaluating each interaction that the user has on your site. So one of the worst things that can happen, because they're looking at things like bounce rate, browse rate, time on site. One of the worst things that can happen is a user conducts a search. They go to Google, conduct a search. They click on a particular link for your website. They come to your website, and for whatever reason, they don't click on anything. And they decide that, this website doesn't work for me. Or maybe I went to one of these useless pages and it wasn't the stuff that I wanted, so I bounce. I go back to Google, never clicked on anything, and then I either click on another link or I do another search and move on. What this tells Panda, this is a concept called Pogo Sticking. Again, bouncing around. This tells Google that, hey, this person conducted a search. They obviously didn't find this website pertaining to that particular search. So maybe we should consider whether this website really should rank that well for this particular keyword phrase. So another thing that is kind of unique about the Panda update. All right, so we talked about Panda, and I know that was kind of a mouthful. Anyone have any questions about anything I've covered so far? No? Okay, good. Penguin. All right, so Penguin is another one of their big updates.
I have a question.
Please.
What would be considered a bounce rate that would affect? Is it on an individual basis with 2 bounces, or is it a bounce rate, overall rating?
It's actually, they take it down to the individual keyword, so it's not just the page. So one strategy that we would actually do in the future is we would take a look at all the top entrance pages for our dealership websites, and then we would look at the corresponding bounce rates for all those different pages and the different keyword sets, and see if there's some sort of correlation, if there's an issue with one of these pages, and then we'd optimize around that if we felt that that was an area that we needed to focus on. So getting to, sure.
Are we seeing that a lot of the PC now that's actually affecting Pogo Stick as well?
You know, I'm not 100% sure about how PPC has effect, but I'm pretty sure it does because it's also, again, it's a certain keyword that's sending traffic to the website, and if they bounce for that keyword, then it's going to have a negative effect. Plus, you're also, you know, they track that all throughout AdWords as well. Right, exactly. So with Penguin, Penguin is very similar to Panda in that it's had many different updates, and they're going to continue to have more updates as we go on. They're going to get a little bit more stringent. A lot of the updates that have happened to this point have really impacted some of the larger traffic websites out there, things like JCPenney, automotive.com. But in time, it's going to get more and more stringent, and it is going to come back to, you know, the dealership level and start affecting us as well. I really haven't seen a single dealer that really has been affected by any of these updates yet. Maybe there are some out there. But Penguin, what they're after is essentially going after the black hat SEO tactics. And you know, I was lucky enough this year to attend the SES conference, Search Engine Strategies Conference in San Francisco. And I actually got to sit in a conversation with Matt Cutts, who is, for those of you that don't know, he's the head of Google's web spam team. And this is the guy really responsible for Panda, Penguin, Venice. And you know, we're trying to figure out, you know, what the next update's going to be. And what do we come up with, Chris? Skunk? Maybe it's the next black and white animal out there, but who knows? But anyway, this is the guy. And anyway, I sat in a conversation with him, and I got some clarity on exactly what types of black hat tactics that you know, the Penguin update is after. But for any of my dealers in this room, if you do get hit hard in the future with a Penguin or Panda update, this is the guy you want to hunt down, not me. But anyway, so Matt basically broke down that, you know, some of the main things and things that can affect Google affect dealers, are things like doorway pages, spammy links, and keyword stuffing. So real quick, I'll go over these. Does anyone in this room know what doorway pages are or not know what doorway pages are? I'm sorry, black hat SEO. Essentially what that is it's shady SEO tactics that are deployed by webmasters to deliberately game Google for higher search rankings. No problem. So doorway pages. What doorway pages are, they're specific thin content sites that go after specific keyword phrases. So it's a website that's been created or a microsite that's been created to rank well for one particular keyword term. But what we typically see with them is that, you know, they're very thin content, so they don't have much content on the website. It's all focused around that one keyword. Usually the URL matches that particular keyword. And then when the user lands on that page, they actually have to then click on a link to go to another website to get to the bulk of their content. And again, this violates Google's goal. It's causing users to have to jump through hoops to get to the content they want. These pages have obviously been created just to rank well for that keyword and push traffic into your main site. So it's a practice that they don't recommend. And again, I bring this up because there's certain companies in our space, knowingly or unknowingly, have deployed this strategy. And in the past, it was a great one. But now it's something we do need to be more careful of. So again, I'm not recommending that you need to go back and completely change everything you're doing. But if you do have doorway pages set up or these specific microsites, there's a right way and a wrong way to do them. You may want to look at adding additional content, additional pages to them. If they're not doing that great, you may even want to just redirect them over. But something important to note. So this is, again, the strategy we don't want to do. We want everything to reside on one main website. The next thing is spammy links. And this is kind of an important one. And the reason being is one of the most important ranking factors for SEO is offsite SEO. Does anyone not know what offsite SEO is? Okay, good. Anyway, I'll just explain it anyway. Offsite SEO is essentially things that you could do on third-party websites, right, that will help improve the ranking of your website. So an example of this would be, you know, building inbound links to your website from authoritative, you know, quality websites out there. You know, so in Google's eyes, if they see that there's a ton of sites out there that are talking about you or they're linking to you because you've got great content or, you know, they're affiliated with you somehow, in their eyes, they're like, okay, well, this must be an authoritative site, so let's rank them better for this. But that being said, since it is one of the most important ranking factors, it's also one of the most ones that's abused by spammers. People are constantly trying to build inbound links. And now with all these changes, it's no longer about building links, it really needs to be about earning links. And that's about really generating quality content so people want to essentially link to your website. So examples of these spammy links, like this particular example here, is just, it's content about getting fit. And then over here, you've got a particular link that talks about a payday loan. This is obviously not related at all. The anchor text here is payday loan. This would be an example of generating a spammy link. It's unrelated content. But there's, a bunch of other types of links that you also want to try and avoid. When you're building links, everything needs to be organic and make it look natural to Google. So some of the things that you definitely do want to avoid when you're doing this is not going after and generating a large number of links in a short period of time. That's going to show Google that obviously they're artificially manufacturing this, so they must be spamming here. Other things that you want to avoid is not getting all of your links from the same type of inbound link. There's many different types of inbound links you can generate, which I'll talk about in a second. Other things are, that's an anchor text to a particular link. So for my business, car dealer websites is an important keyword that I want to rank well for. So if I build inbound links that the anchor text is car dealer websites, it's inbound links to my site, but it also tells Google that, hey, this site must be about car dealer websites because that's the anchor text. So if your strategy has been building all these links of car dealer websites or your most important keyword term, that also seems obvious that you're the one manufacturing this, and it's not users, because they would do auto dealer websites, car dealer websites, websites for car dealerships. There'd be many different variations of it. So the other things you want to avoid is not building links from spammy sites or link farms or things of that nature. And really, I highly recommend staying away from buying inbound links from anywhere. All right, so last thing real quick is keyword stuffing. And keyword stuffing essentially is using keywords excessively in an unnatural fashion on the page for the sole purpose of ranking well for them. Probably about 90% of you in this room, if you look at your website, you technically are doing keyword stuffing. Again, you're ranking pretty well right now because you're doing keyword stuffing. So I'm not saying go back and change it all, but you may want to consider the fact that as we go forward and these restrictions become more and more stringent, it eventually is going to come back to get you. So you may want to look at that strategy, maybe ease up on the gas a little bit with that strategy. I've got a ton of my dealers, and there's a bunch of them in this room that have that same variation of content. We're going through SEO updates right now. We're going to be making changes to a lot of that, but again, it's not something I'd recommend you completely pull away, but you definitely do want to look at revising it as you go forward. So things like having tons of phone numbers or zip codes specifically to rank, or having blocks and blocks of cities, or here's one example here. You got a Toyota website. We sell 2012 Toyota Corollas. Our 2012 Toyota Corollas are great. If you're thinking of buying a 2012, please contact our... Anyway, this is a prime example of keyword stuffing. All right, so Google Venice. Oh, any questions about... Sure. For the most part, yes, but you can get links from unrelated businesses, but just don't go crazy with it. The other thing is, one of the things that you can now do, because there's also things called negative SEO, where there can be individuals or companies out there that try and make you look as if you've been doing link building, so you get nailed for it. So one of the things to stay on top of is who's actually linking into you, and then there's a new tool that's been released by Google that allows you to disavow links. So something you definitely should take a look at. Look at all the people that are linking to. The ones that are completely unrelated, look like they're from spammy sites, definitely disavow them. All right, so the Venice update. Sure.
So keyword stuffing, I've heard some numbers like, well, it can't be more than 5% of your page, where you're mentioning something like that 2012 Toyota. I've heard some numbers that are just so low, it'd be hard to have a conversation with you if you maintain it.
Yeah, you don't really need to get that carried away. It can look slightly unnatural, so you're going to use the keywords enough on the page, but that is just,
Is there a number there? Like I said,
I could throw one out, but yeah, I really don't know, to tell you the truth, and no one really does. Sure.
Are there any real keys for measuring where you're at currently, with that or with the...
Not of any tools that would tell you, hey, you're approaching the keyword stuffing level. Not that I've seen yet. I'm sure there will be some pretty soon. There are some based on the old metrics, which I wouldn't really look at anymore. But I'm going to show you a bunch of tools at the end that will give you some data and how you can track stuff. So real quick, Google Venice, because I've got a ton of information to cover, and I'm probably not going to get through it all. So if we can, let's try to save the rest of the questions till the end. So the Venice update, this was an update that was kind of an underappreciated, below-the-radar update for Google. And the reason was because it wasn't actually created to punish anyone. though it did actually lower some sites' rankings and lift some. What it really was after was to identify keywords that had local intent. So for car dealers, the Venice update is a great update because, for us, pretty much everything that we sell and service is localized. Well, for the most part. So here's an example here, a search that's been done for Acura dealers. No city and state listed here. You'll notice that the first dealer in the organic search here is Goodson Acura, happens to be a DealerOn customer. They're ranking #1 for this. Their city and state is listed here as Dallas, Texas. So Google has identified, due to the Venice update, that this particular dealer is local in that area. And when you search for Acura dealers without including city or state, they're now ranking for this particular search. In the past, prior to the Venice update, you would have had no chance to rank for this unless you were doing paid search. So the Venice update, for a change, is actually for us dealers has really helped us out in many different ways. So, here's just a prime example of the Venice update. So to recap, we've talked about how, the Panda, Venice, Penguin update, what effects they've had on us, and that they really need to change the way we view SEO as we go forward. It's not really a formula anymore. And really what we need to do is we need to start thinking about the user experience. We need to start thinking about how we can create really quality content. And when I say quality, I mean that content that is so great that it actually wows the end user enough to actually get them to want to share it. That's what we're after, is developing that type of content. Obviously, that's much easier said than done, but that needs to be the future of SEO. We're no longer SEOs, we're web strategists, essentially. We've also talked about how, if you're doing keyword stuffing, any of those spammy things that we've discussed here, it's not going to work. If you've got someone that's managing that for you, you really need to be careful going forward because essentially you're playing with fire. So let's now talk about, what does work on Google. So David Mim is a SEO expert that he's, for many years now, he's been doing this study where he surveys about 100 SEO experts and he basically gets them to tell him what do they think are the top 100 local search ranking factors. And they're from all different industries, and this particular study is probably one of the ones that has the most clout out of any other study of its kind. So it's one that we take very seriously. We're going to go over that, but he breaks his ranking factors down into 4 key categories. #1 being Google+, off-site factors, website content, and finally reviews. So from here on out, I've got a couple of slides and I actually have an addendum just because there was so much I wanted to include in this, but just not enough time. I'm not going to go through each and every one of these, but this is in the presentation. These are the top 20 local search ranking factors that are going to be very important for you to know about. But we are going to talk about the different categories and how some of these relate. So first, website factors. After you've done all the basics, again, this is supposed to be an advanced course, so all the things like title tags and content on your website, internal linking, after you've got those out of the way, some of the strategies that we recommend to our dealers, I don't know if you consider these advanced, but things that you definitely should be doing are things like integrated blogs, customer reviews, custom pages, and one concept here is newsletter. So really the concept behind all this is getting human-generated content on your website. Again, we're after quality content. So with an integrated blog, what we're looking for is a blog that's not blog dot, then your domain, so it's on a subdomain, technically a different domain or a separate domain. We want it on your website. So yourwebsite.com/blogs. The benefit here is, again, Google loves blogs because it's human-generated content that's vastly different than that it sees on your typical dealership website. And it's going to differentiate you. And as you begin to be seen as this content authority, the big benefit here, since that blog is on your website, not only do the individual posts rank well, it causes your entire website to rank better. So it's a great strategy. #2, customer reviews. We're all spending time doing reputation management, or we really should be, and we're generating these reviews. Let's use some of these reviews on our website as well, not just through Google+ and DealerRater. Let's get them on the site. Again, it's human-generated content that actually will have good product-related keywords within it, will have location keywords in it, and it's a great strategy. Custom pages. If you're not creating custom pages on your website, you need to be tracking how you rank for your money keyword terms. And then based on the ones that you're not ranking that well for, this is where you could create custom pages that are specific to a particular keyword that you want to rank better for, that has great content, create it, set up an internal linking structure on the website that points to that particular page, and will get you good rankings. Another way to add new, fresh content to the website. And finally, newsletters. If we're spending all this time creating these newsletters, sending them out through some third party that is hosting the newsletter on their servers and sending them out via email, you're not getting any value out of it. Let's get those newsletters. Let's repurpose them, get them on the website. Using the blog is a great platform to do it. Makes it pretty easy. Again, it's new content. You're creating it. Let's use the content on the website as well. So real quick, let's touch on the plus page factors. And I know I'm kind of behind here, so I'm going to try and go a little bit faster. Sorry for talking so quickly here. So the plus page factors. Some of the things that are pretty obvious here, obviously we want to have the proper category associations for the page. Things like having a local area code really do make a difference. So if you have an 800 number on your plus page, you probably want to get the local area code. Having your product or service keyword in the title. But here's a couple important things that you should know. The reviews that you have on your plus page will not only do the quantity of the reviews actually affect your SEO ranking, which some people still maybe don't realize that that's the case, and it absolutely is. So get reviews, spend the time doing reputation management, but also the content within those reviews, product-related keywords, location-based keywords, they will help your plus page rank better when people are doing searches for localized content. And then finally, one of the things that most people don't know, and this is one way to get your foot up against your competition, is the same way that you can do link building to get your site to rank better, to show that your site is an authoritative site, you can build inbound links to your plus page. So I've got a lot of dealers who, they're outside of Boston, maybe 20 miles, and they're trying to compete with all the other dealers that want to show up when someone searches for Boston Nissan for, the Google Plus page listings there, but they can't. This is a perfect strategy for it. Build inbound links to your plus page and it will help you there. Also, getting more and more reviews is another thing that's going to help you rank better there. So even if you're outside of the city center, Boston is not your particular city and your address, you can rank for these are some of those strategies. So off-site factors. Let's talk about citations. Does anyone know what a citation is? Okay, a couple people. So a citation, it's a NAP, name, address, phone number. And essentially what that means is any website out there that has your name, address, phone number, that is exact and it's consistent from one site to the next counts as a citation. So it doesn't have to be a specific site, but this is a strategy that I highly recommend that each and every one of you in this room spend some time building some more citations. You want to go after quality, authoritative sites out there that are, some of the ones that Google looks after to make sure that you are a localized business, and there's a lot of sites out there that have citations for your website. Here are just some examples here. They're listed in these different areas. Things like Yelp, Facebook, YouTube, all of these are going to have your name, address, phone number on them. There's many other sites like, you've got things like local.com, White Pages, MapQuest, Foursquare, Yahoo, Yellowbook. There's also a great resource that we're going to talk about in a minute, Yext, that can actually help you set up about 40 of them and manage them all from one place. And then again, off-site factors. We talked about link building, local links. One of the things here, again, that I want to mention, generating inbound links, probably one of the most important factors for how well your site ranks, right? One of the important things to do is focus on trying to build local links, local to your area. There's some tools out there, again, we're going to talk about that help you figure out where to actually build inbound links from. But one of the things that I always recommend to my dealers is, look, if you're spending money with any company and you're advertising with them, they should be willing to cough up a link. So those are some businesses that you can get, usually from reputable ones, that you can get an inbound link from. The other thing is if you're doing any community involvement or any charitable stuff that you're doing, these are also great organizations that you could contact to get inbound links from that are really going to have a big, big benefit for you. But there's a ton of different inbound links that you can get, and I'll name a few of them here. But again, be very careful when you're doing this, because if you're not doing it properly, it can really have a negative effect. You really want to do it the right way. So going after the right sites and not making it look like it's artificial is very important. The way I say is always, there's things like blogs. You can do blog submissions, guest postings. There's different directories that you can go through, forums, giveaways, reviews that you can get set up that actually will link back to you, interviews, press release sites. So all of these are different kinds, and what we should do is get a couple of each, and little by little build them. Don't get a ton at one time, but this is one of those things that will help you really, really rank well, and a very important piece. So again, many different forms of them that you can generate. And then finally, we talked about reviews. And not only is it important for the SEO side of things, but again, we know that now customers are driving 15 to 30 miles more just to go to a dealership that has great reviews. So not only is it important for that purpose, but also if you're let's say you do rank and you're showing up there, and someone's got ton more reviews than you, they're better than you, and that's another reason why someone's going to click on that link. So you're going to have a higher click-through rate with better reviews. But it's extremely important that this is taken seriously. So if you're not really taking advantage of getting ahead of your competition by getting a lot of reviews out there, it's extremely important because it does play a big role in how well you're going to rank. Again, here's an example of one of the reviews. It's got Honda Civic in here, the name of the dealership. Again, these are all different types of things that the reviews actually help you even rank better. Real quick, wanted to touch on video, and I know people have beaten to death video is going to send you a lot more traffic. But does anyone know what the second largest search engine is? YouTube. Okay, so we do know. All right, great. So that being said, we know how much traffic YouTube generates. But here's the thing, not only is there YouTube, there's a ton of other sites out there that host video, but 52% of all video that's being viewed online actually happens from an embedded page on a website, not actually being viewed from YouTube. So more video views are happening off these big sites. So it's a huge area for opportunity. And the thing to note about video is that there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. If you're going to have video on your websites, you need to make sure you have video sitemaps. If you've got video sitemaps, you're going to have a much higher percentage chance of having video snippets. The issue is there's a lot of website vendors that don't have the capability, the way that they're currently set up, to actually set up those video sitemaps for you. And that's why I bring it up, is because if that's the case, it's not their fault, it's just a certain way that they have it set up. But are video hosting companies, one of which being Wistia, that will actually allow you to upload your videos. Unfortunately, they have to pay for it, but you upload your videos there, you can embed them into your pages, but then they take care of the video sitemaps for you. They also submit it directly to Google for you, and it's one of those things that now you're going to have a much higher chance of actually showing up for it, having those videos being viewed. But here's the awesome part about it. So a lot of times you can see if you're in the, say, third or fourth position, and you've got a video snippet like this, and the first, second, and third are not video, they're like a standard link. Did you know that fourth place listing, depending upon what the video is about, can receive 1,200% more clicks than even the first page listing just because it's a video? That's why it's so important. So those are the things that we need to make sure we're taking advantage of, but having it set up right first is obviously going to be very important. Wistia, I should have included that in there. I think I have a link to it in the addendum, but anyway, it's W-I-S-T-I-A. So real quick, one of the other things that I had to mention here, social signals. And I know a lot of us have maybe jumped into social media and we were expecting to see a lot of great results from it, and we didn't, and we kind of got pissed off and maybe pulled out, or we really aren't taking it very seriously now. Forget about selling cars with social media. It'll happen in the background, but just forget about that for a minute, because it's about managing your reputation, having your voice online, managing your brand. But furthermore, there's a big, big, big push now with how social media is kind of like the new link building. I mean, it really is. It's what tells Google who's talking about you online. So things like how many fans that you have, or how many people are commenting on the posts that you have, or how many people share your content, or how many people +1 you. All these things have a big role in how many social signals Google sees. Again, it tells them how many people are talking about you online, how many people like your content. And this is why it's so important, because it will have a positive effect on how well you rank. Very similar to link building. But furthermore, very similar to these video snippets, imagine what a high click-through percentage you're going to have when a user goes online, conducts a search, sees that your content that someone has shared or liked or +1 is showing up there, and they see that, hey, someone they know and trust has shared that content. You're going to be 10 times more likely to click on that link. So it also greatly affects your actual click-through rate. So these are just some breakdown here. There's a full report. I have again, the link in the addendum, a bunch of stuff for you to review. But all these things are really, really going to be important going forward. So real quick, to kind of wrap up the presentation, I've got about 6, 7 more slides with different tools that I want to talk about. One of them was Yext. We talked about citations and how important they are. This is a great tool that allows you to generate a bunch of these citations from one place. It's a low-cost service. It also allows you to diagnose any of the issues that you have with them. So as you set up with an account with them, it's going to show you out of these 40 different great directories that are out there, the reputable ones, not the ones that you could get nailed for even communicating to. But it's going to go through them and it's going to see, okay, hey, you've got a problem with these 5 because your address is listed a little bit differently than this one, and that's kind of an issue, so you need to make sure that gets rectified. But then also, if you're a dealer group and you've got multiple locations, what's cool is you can actually manage all of them from one account in one place, so it's not a real pain to actually do. So Yext is a fantastic tool, and again, everyone in this room needs to find out how many citations they have and increase it or double it. Scrapebox. This is another fantastic tool that I recommend that essentially what Scrapebox is, it's a tool that allows you to find different websites to build inbound links from. And this is one of the difficulties in doing that, is that we want to find sites that are local to us, we want to find sites that have content that's related to us and really makes sense to go after. And Scrapebox is a fantastic tool that allows you to do that in a very short period of time. There's actually if you go to YouTube and just do a search for Scrapebox tutorial, there's a bunch of different videos you can find that'll show you the best practices because it can get a little bit complicated. Another one is Majestic SEO. This is a competitive research tool that allows you to see, based on your competition, who's actually linking to them. And you can get the complete list of everyone, and you obviously, after reviewing that list of who's linking to your competitors, you can decide when appropriate to contact those same businesses or provide them some sort of content or give them a reason to want to link to you as well. I wouldn't recommend, a lot of people just go and try and build all the links that the competition has. It's not a good strategy. You need to make sure that it's relevant and it makes sense to go after. So, think about what you're doing before just executing, obviously. Raven Tools. Raven Tools is a tool that allows you to manage your SEO, you see your rankings. And let me tell you why this is so important. And the reason is because it allows you to know where your big opportunities are. And here's what I mean by that. If you're in the second, third, fourth, or fifth place listing for some of your money keyword terms, that's where your opportunity is. And here's why. There was recently a study done. Actually, let me just talk about Raven Tools real quick. So Raven Tools gives you a bunch of different things that you can do with it, from SEO management to, again, doing some research for link building. You can check all your rankings through the different search engines out there, and it'll tell you where you're at. It also allows you to do all sorts of research to figure out what are the most important keywords for you to go after. But the real reason why this is so important is identifying where you need to spend your time. And again, if you've got that in-house person, no one really cares. And I don't care who the vendor is. I don't care how much they tell you that they care about your SEO. I'm sure they all do. But no one will take it to the level that your in-house guy will. And he or she will do all the things that are so important to get done. And frankly, no vendor, unless you're paying them $5 to $10 grand a month, is going to do these things because it's so time consuming. But here's why it's so important. Recently, a study was released from Compete. And this was kind of mind-boggling to me. So right out of the gate, only 15% of all traffic that comes to your site is going to be from paid search, if you're doing obviously a bunch of paid search. 85% of that traffic is going to be from organic. So the total traffic out there, that's how it's broken down. So obviously in organic is where there's the huge opportunity out there. Paid search as well. But here's the kicker. Of all of the first place listings out there that you have, they get 53% of all the clicks. And then it plummets. For number two, I love being in number two a lot. Obviously it'd be better to be number one, but it's much better than not being on the first page. And sometimes we're satisfied with that. But when you drop down to number two, it goes down to 15%, down to 9, down to 6, down to 4. So if you're in the fifth place and you focus your strategy, you start writing custom pages around that particular keyword, and then you create your internal linking structure, you build some inbound links to that particular page that you're trying to rank better for, and you get number 5 to number 1, you just increase traffic for that particular money key term by 13 times what you had in the fifth place, where usually we're kind of happy for fifth place. But again, unless you got someone in-house, no one's going to focus the time to do these things for you. And this is where the real opportunity is at. So that kind of wraps everything up. We'll go through some questions and answers. Questions? Yes, sir.
After the England update, it seems like the vast majority of link farms, yes, well, some of the SEO companies too, immediately switched to negative SEO.
Yeah.
They're forecasting it to be $1 billion industry.
It is, and it's going crazy. That's why that whole disavow link was just released. So that now you can actually check your own website to see who's linking to you, and it actually will show you at the very top what are the most recent links that have been added as well, so you can really be on top of actually who's linking and actually block some of them.
It seems as though there's a 3-month delay when you're checking Google's tool. It seems as though there's a 3-month delay before the link actually gets up and before it lines up on the tool. What I was wondering, is there as much of a delay in Google gigging you for finding the link and using that with their...
I wish I had that answer. They don't really release all the details of their algorithm, obviously, but I really don't know what the answer to that would be. But I can tell you, as far as the 3-month delay, I think it might depend upon the site for whatever reason, because I've seen on our site things within literally 3-4 days have showed up there. So I don't know why you're seeing such a huge delay. Yes, sir.
We have built up about 150 legitimate reviews on all of our websites over 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, there's 7. And I heard there was something to do with the Google was going back and filtering that stuff. What's that all about?
Yeah, they essentially what happened was they went back and they kind of changed the way the review system worked. So the scoring's a little bit different as well, and it knocked a lot of people back. So people that had a ton of reviews before, they had been taken back down. There's been a lot of complaints and actually a lot of stuff on SEO boards that people are so pissed off because dealers spend a lot of time, or any business out there, spend a lot of time building these reviews, and then all of a sudden they disappeared. And from last details that I saw, they're not planning on changing that.
Can you repeat the question? I didn't hear it. I mean, maybe you could.
We had built a lot of legitimate reviews on our website. And we just know about the top of Google.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So my question is then to follow up, is there anything you do to restore it, or you got to start from scratch?
You've got to, as of right now, there's been no details if they're going to be restored, unfortunately, but I know that there's, whenever something like this happens, a lot of times people in the SEO industry continue to complain and complain and complain, and eventually they might make a slight change that you'll see some of them come back, but I wouldn't count on it. Yes, sir.
A quick question. You were showing the review page on one of the sites. It looks
Uh-huh.
like it was a framed-in DealerOn page. Is it changed? Is the frame now being read by us?
No, it's not. No, if I was probably just up there because it was talking about reviews. No, I was talking about actually getting the reviews on your website. So if it's framed in, you're not, yeah.
Another one you were talking about was on newsletters
Mm-hmm.
and placing the content on your website. A lot of newsletter content's unrelated content to automotive. Would you recommend posting those as well, or just automotive?
More of the automotive stuff. I mean, again, it doesn't matter if you have some content that's unrelated. You just don't want to abuse that.
Okay, I've seen you had 85-15 split on people clicking or going with the SEO versus like organic results versus SEM.
That's a national breakdown, so out of everything out there, so it might be
But then
weighted
after
one.
that, you were looking at like 50-some% click on number 1, and then it really
Right, and that's all organic.
That's
So
all organic.
all organic, yeah. Of the organic traffic.
Was there, okay, so, all right, so, and any kind of results on just the top paid for searches as far as how effective that is? If I'm spending $10,000 a month, like, should I, fight
Number
to get
one, yes, 100%. There actually is, did we include that in the addendum, do you know? The one that gave the details on paid search, difference between 1, 2, and 3 in the sidebar. I have it. If you send me an email, I'll send you all the info.
Okay.
And it was just a recent study that was released, so it's brand new data. So if you send me an email, I'll send you that link.
Okay, yeah, because the truth is, when you spend the money on it, you're still wondering how
It's
effective
it's very similar to the way the organic is. Being number one's huge. Being on the side, it's a humongous drop. I mean, it's almost as if it's not getting clicked. And if you're on the bottom, it's less than 1%. So, sure.
You talked about using your newsletter on the website. We use IMN.
Yeah, so that's,
It's going to be duplicate content, right?
well, IMN, I don't believe IMN hosts that anywhere that's getting any benefit from you for the dealer. There's a great company out there called Three Birds that has a great newsletter product that actually does some stuff where they integrate it. So that'd be one to check out. But even if IMN, and you got to be careful with IMN also, just because I don't know if they have two different services, but a lot of their content has been repurposed. Right. So one dealer, oh, that's what you meant, duplicate. I'm sorry. I thought you meant they're hosting it somewhere and you'd be putting it on your website. Yeah, they're using it for, that'll hurt you actually, put it on your website. Yeah, so if you have it where it's actually being created and is unique content, which is critical, then I would definitely recommend putting it on the website. Thanks for clarifying that.
Kind of along the same lines, is that relevant to, how's that relevant to a PDF? From an SEO standpoint, if you're putting up a newsletter that's like a PDF,
right,
are you gaining the natural?
It's not a PDF. PDFs can actually be read by search engines now, but you're not going to get the same impact that you would if it was straight content. One more.
What do you recommend? Like changing it to a text format?
Again, it's about how, if you can, it would definitely make sense to do that. I mean, you got to look at all the different things that you have and the time that you have where it makes sense to put the effort, but sure.
Do you have any concerns with specification pages creating any duplicate content? So some vendors provide standardized spec data to multiple different types of websites. So have you ever had any concerns with having my same?
You know, it's a gray area there. The more unique content you have, the better. You know, I think it's kind of understood in certain industries that, you know, Google sees that there's a bunch of sites out there from one vendor. And those things do come into their algorithm, not to completely nail you because it's complete duplicate content, but it's all about a particular vehicle that should be the same from one to the next to the next. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. You know, it's an interesting thought though to see if there was a way to get a closer view on that and know exactly what the real impact is, but you know, you could if you wanted to. Yeah.